Welcome to our very first cross-country schooling. Not only is this Tucker's first cross-country schooling, but it is also mine, and I thought this would be a great video to celebrate 200,000 subscribers, so thank you to everyone who has supported the channel, and I hope this is something new that you'll like. So we decided to go cross-country schooling. We've never done it before, and here you can see I'm saying to Colin, that jump's as big as me. But basically, I've always seen people do this. I've always been super interested in trying it. I just haven't had the opportunity to. I've always considered myself an eventer, which is weird because I've never done a full event or a trial, but I've trained with eventer trainers, and I've always done combined tests of show jumping and dressage. So I wanted to add this in. And I also wanted to do this since Tucker is a more sensitive horse, and I would like to compete on him more. I just want to show him new surroundings, new obstacles he'll have to deal with. So the last time we did a jumper derby, there were some cross-country jumps that he was not sure about. So I wanted to get him out cross-country so he could get over solid jumps and get more confident with that. And also for me too. Since I haven't done a lot of it, I want to be more bold going up to those solid jumps. And so what you see me starting with here is we're just doing some hill work, and I'm practicing trotting and cantering down the hill specifically. I just think that's good practice because we don't usually think about doing that. We always think of going up the hill for hill work and to build our horse's strength. But going downhill is really good at just collecting your horse and rocking them back and gaining control. Tucker was also really excited. There was a bunch of horses running around and causing a ruckus, and so I just wanted to kind of let him get it out of his system before we got started. And so we started with this railroad tie jump here, very small, very inviting. It was kind of a little slippy, and so we didn't do this too much, but just getting a feel for things. We actually haven't done a whole lot of work lately outside of trail riding. So here, we had the horses running around and Tucker was getting wild, so I'm really just practicing on getting him focused and coming back to a trot after the jumps, just because he was so excited and kind of getting out of control, and I didn't want him running up to the jumps, so I was just working on bringing him back to me. Here we have this beautiful, nice little combination. It was a bending line, and I love doing that. I thought it was super fun. Tucker did it great. He didn't hesitate at all. And I'll say I was very surprised at how well he did and how brave he was to jumps, because usually he is a lot more looky. And I honestly think that comes from trail riding so much. Like, he's done so much better since we started doing that. So here's the bending line again. And I just thought that was so fun. And so trail riding has really gotten him used to other things and new obstacles and going over things he wouldn't necessarily be confident at, like this coop. He didn't even look at it. So I was very surprised. This was the first ditch of the day. We had never done a cross-country ditch. We've done like natural ditches before. So Tucker was a little looky at it. I had just watched a Boyd Martin video on how to introduce your horse to a ditch if they've never done one before. And he said kind of ride them up along the side of the ditch so the horse could see it out of both of their eyes. So I did try to get him to go to the side. And here's the point of view. You can see what it looks like. It was about a foot deep. But Tucker did pretty good with that. He just looked at it and then he was like, okay, I'll just go over it. And right there, we didn't really do too much with it because the footing wasn't the best. But this was something I had been waiting for, and I've been super excited for. It was the water complex. I've always wanted to go through one of these and work with one of these. Tucker was not having it going in the water, which I thought was funny because I'm like, dude, you cross puddles all the time. You go through water, creeks, rivers on trail rides, but you're not going to go through this. And I honestly think it was the mud kind of at the foot of it. It wasn't like thick or deep mud. It was literally just footing that was wet. So what I do when a horse kind of is hesitating like that, I always try to keep them facing the obstacle and moving towards it, because a lot of horses will want to back up. So when they try to back up, I just kind of turn them and then turn them back to keep their focus there. And I find that usually, eventually, the horse will decide to go in. And one part of cross country that I just don't quite understand yet is getting your horse over something. Like, I like to take my time and go slow and let the horse see it. But with really any competition, there's that variable of you have to solve the problem right there. Here, Tucker did not really like being splashed in the face, which I thought was funny, but he got over it. So anyway, I guess that's why you do schooling, so that the horse can see the obstacles ahead of time and get used to them, and you can work at your own pace rather than in a competition where it's like, okay, you need to get over this now. And so I'm glad that we did this, because just knowing Tucker, when you have the stress of the competition, it's a lot more. So here's a bank. I made it the goal of my day to do a bank. I haven't really done one before, and so I was pretty nervous about it because they just look very intimidating. And this was the smallest one they had, not in the water complex. And you're probably thinking, well, it doesn't look that big, but it did look big to me. So I went up here to look at it. What freaked me out is like, it just drops off. And I couldn't tell if Tucker knew that it dropped off, because he was acting like he didn't even see it there. And that's why here you can see me, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try this. But then you see me hesitate and be unsure of myself, because I'm like, does he see it? I didn't want him to just step off and hurt himself or flip over or something like that. So I'm telling Colin, I'm like, no, I gotta try something else. So I ended up going to the water complex ditch, and the reason I wanted to do this one is it seemed smaller, and I liked the water at the bottom, because I'm like, okay, Tucker, visually, you're gonna see that there's a ditch here. You know, you're not just gonna walk off it not knowing that there's a change in the ground. So he did go off it initially, but I think that freaked him out a bit, because then from then on, he was not having it. And mind you, I'm not going to place all the blame on him. I'll place a lot of the blame on me, because I too was unsure of myself. And I'm like, how do I ride this? Like, do I get my 2-point? Do I lean back? Do I get him to go through it? And then I'm like, okay, is he going to launch himself off the ditch? All of these things. So I ended up getting off and trying to do it from the ground, because I'm like, okay, if I can see how he does it on the ground, then I'll know how to ride it. And I also thought it may just be easier to get him to go off of it. I thought maybe if I show him going up it and he sees it that way, he'll be more willing to go down it. Because he was very unsure of the drop. And so looking back at that other bank, that's why I'm like, okay, surely he did not see it there. But anyway, I just wanted him to be able to take his own time, think through it, figure it out, and then I'd get on and try it. Because I'm a wimp sometimes, and I'd rather do things that way. Couldn't get him over it, so I got Colin's help. He's up there, so I can create some momentum behind Tucker to try and help him get over it. And I'm just using my neck strap there and kind of just waving it behind him. My goal here is to just get him to jump off the bank. And what I was doing is I was keeping him facing the bank like that. You see right there, he put his foot over it. We stopped and just let him chew and think through what had just happened. So you see, once he did that a few times and got his feet off, then I started asking for more. And you'll see, finally, he figured it out. He got down it. So that's how we did that. Honestly, that took us about 30 minutes. It was a long process, and it was frustrating, but I just had to stay calm. So after he did it, then he was just hopping off it, jumping off of it. He accepted it very well. So I wanted to do it a few times on the ground so he would feel more confident and just get that repetition in there. And I also wanted to see how he was holding his body. So he was kind of like tucking in his haunches and then launching himself. So I'm like, okay, if he's doing that, I know how to ride this. So he launched, but he did very good. I mean, and once he jumped out, I'm like, okay, that was nothing. Why was I so freaked out? But I thought it was a blast, and that was my favorite part, maybe because we had the big mental challenge, and it was super mentally difficult. And Colin at one point just told me, okay, you just have to pretend you're an actual eventer, and you just got to do it. No thinking about it. And so that kind of helped me out. But after that, we're like, okay, good. I got to go try this coop again. We'll do a few more jumps, and then we'll go home. And so this combination was nice. It was a little bit of a longer run. And we didn't do too many long runs just because we're out of shape. But I rode this first bit horribly. We chipped in, and then you'll see what happens here. So coming up to this jump, you'll see right here, he starts hesitating and slowing down. That's a good 10 strides out. But I didn't really ride any differently. And so I just need someone pointing that out to me of like, okay, he's hesitating, you need to ride more forward. Because those are the things with him, since he is more sensitive, if I would just pick up on that and ride forward, I could probably get him over it. I just need to practice that and have someone pointing it out to me and giving me tips. Because I can tell when he does it, but it's just kind of like I stop riding, which is bad, but we all have things we have to work on. I need to work on riding. This is our second attempt, and he does much better. It's slightly downhill, so a little different, but he did it beautifully, and I thought that was fun. With my point of view, I did a chest mount instead of a helmet mount, and I did not like the chest mount cross country, so next time I'll definitely do a helmet mount. This was a nice little line. It was a little bit bigger than the rest of the jumps we had done, but I'm like, okay, he's pretty confident going up to the log, so we'll just try this, and it was really fun. They were both on angles, so it was just a little bit more challenging. But there you have it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video.